Welcome to the newly branded Jane Healey Happy Hour, formerly Historical Happy Hour, the podcast that explores new and exciting novels of all genres. I'm your host, bestselling historical fiction author Jane Healey, and in today's episode, we welcome author and U.S. Air Force veteran John Edward Collins to discuss his novel, The Interdictionist, which has been called a Cold War military thriller packed with tactical realism, emotional depth, and a hero you won't forget. Welcome, John.
Well, thank you very much.
Thanks for coming on. I'm going to do a quick bio about you, and then I have probably too many questions than we have time for, but we'll see how it goes. All right.
Yeah, thank you.
In 1969, John and his wife traveled to West Germany, courtesy of the U.S. Air Force, where he served as a military operative for the NSA. Rising to the rank of staff sergeant, he worked as a cryptologist, signals intelligence analyst, and computer programmer. His wife worked for the Stars and Stripes newspaper. While not at work, they traveled extensively in Europe, using Darmstadt's central location as their base. Upon completion of his 4-year enlistment in the Air Force, the training he received led to a civilian career as a computer systems architect. He still regards his experience working for the NSA as the most challenging and exciting challenging and exciting in his long career. Again, welcome, John, and let's dive into the questions about the Interdictionist, and then I have some questions about just the writing life in general.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so talk about the premise of this and what inspired you to ultimately write it.
Well, I retired 13 years ago from my career as a computer system architect. And one day I picked up a photo album that my wife and I had put together of snapshots of the 3 years we lived in Germany during the Cold War. And I started going through it, and suddenly I started thinking about all the things that happened to us while we were over there. And I said, I got to take some notes about this. So I started writing my impressions from the photographs. And about 4 months later, I had 240 pages of memoirs of the 3 years in Germany. So I cleaned it up a little, and then because of my oath of secrecy, I had to send it to the National Security Agency for pre-publication review. They got back to me and advised me to change my writing into a novel to protect the people, places, and things that I had written about in the memoirs. Keeping in mind this is like 50 years later, they still were concerned about the secrecy of the events and things that I was involved in. So I'd always been a nonfiction writer, writing for my projects that I managed as a computer scientist. And writing fiction was something of a challenge for me. So I started studying how to write fiction using my memoirs as a resource. I converted my memoirs into The Interdictionist. And The Interdictionist is a journey or an odyssey of an airman from jungle warfare to cyber warfare.
So fascinating about how you had to still go back to the NSA after all this time. I find that so interesting.
Mhm.
So explain, the title is intriguing, The Interdictionist. Explain from a military context what that is. And,
Yeah,
and, and also in terms of the protagonist, Jake Crowley's journey.
yeah, I get that question a lot. My publisher advised me to change. My working title was Fox Bat Out of Hell, dealing with the NATO code name for an aircraft that has a prominent role in the story. So I had to think about one that related to the protagonist instead of the airplane. So I came up with the interdictionist because interdiction in military terms, I'll explain it by example. When fighter jets come up to intercept a bomber formation that's heading to bomb a strategic location, and they stop that bomber formation from completing their mission, that's an interdiction.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I want to talk about Jake Crowley and the whole kind of narrative arc. This takes place starting in 1969, and Jake Crowley is an Air Force combat controller.
Mhm.
I mean, one of my questions was you talk about your research for this novel. It sounds like it's pretty biographical and like based on a lot of your own experiences. Did you have to do some additional research beyond that, or did you base it from your whole kind of career and experiences working for the Air Force?
Well, like Hemingway said, write about what you know and write truly. So the major portion of the work is based on my experiences as an intelligence analyst. But I was in the Air Force, and the intelligence I did was in front of a um, aircraft tracking controller position. So it was the same position that an air traffic controller would use to control traffic in his airport. But I was looking at from the East Bloc countries to the Soviet Union, the traffic that was being tracked by the Soviet Union. My team was intercepting their traffic, and we were displaying it on the screen, and I was reporting to the NSA and sometimes to the Situation Room in the White House
Wow.
activity that was going on during the Cold War.
Amazing.
And the air traffic controller expertise is the main skill of a combat controller. And what I was trying to do was contrast a combat controller's job in conventional warfare with an intelligence analyst's job in cyber warfare. Because our unit, the security service, was the basis of today's 16th Air Force, which is the Cyber Command.
Okay. Fascinating. Um, So this story, although Jake Crowley is the main character, it really like it spans the globe, like locations, perspectives. It's not just his story. So it's, you go from, I mean, not, this isn't even all the places that it takes place. Honduras, New York, Moscow, Germany. It includes the perspective of Jake's fiance. Did you always plan on structuring the narrative that way? Because I was like, oh gosh, for a debut, like this is ambitious. I'm still like pretty much a one perspective girl, and so I'm curious why you made those choices.
Well, I had dueling main plots when I first wrote it. I had the plot of the cryptologist breaking into the Soviet Union's air defense network and discovering um, secrets that they were trying to hide and reporting on them. That was one plot. The other plot was the combat controller becoming a intelligence analyst and also being assigned other duties as a military police auxiliary. And that led to an exciting espionage plot in the story.
Mhm.
And I had to decide as I went along which was the main plot and which was the minor plot. So I made the action the main plot, and still that allowed me to describe what I did as a intelligence analyst along the way, and it
Yep, yep,
contributed to it.
very cool. So you sent me a letter along with your book, and I loved learning about your own family's military history.
Mm.
Will you share some of that with the audience? Because it's so interesting. It was so interesting to me, and it was like history repeating itself in some of your family stories.
Okay, I was prepared for that.
Oh,
Can you,
good.
can you see this picture?
Yes.
Okay, that's my father at 24, just before World War II. He's a staff sergeant in the Army Air Corps in the Signal Corps Division. He was combat intelligence commando during World War II under Patton. Okay,
Wow.
so he's 24 years old, staff sergeant. Okay, and here is me, 24 years old, as a staff sergeant in the Air Force, holding my daughter, who was born in Germany, um, serving at that time in Augsburg. She was 5 months old.
Wow. That's
So
amazing.
that's one pattern. Now, my
Yep.
daughter was born in the same hospital in Wiesbaden, Germany, Air Force Hospital, that my sister was born in.
Wow.
So, so
Incredible. Yeah, yeah.
And then on top of that, when I went into the Air Force, the first thing they sent me was back to my birthplace in San Antonio, Texas, for basic training.
For training.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then to San Angelo, Texas for technical school in cryptology. And then to Germany and Darmstadt, where I was stationed first, was the birthplace and the home of my great grandmother. She
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
she immigrated from Darmstadt to the United States.
I wonder what she would have thought about all of that. That's incredible.
Yeah. So one of the things I noticed with from working with cryptologists, and I find this also in musicians and mathematicians, they have a keen sense of pattern recognition, and that's what I found myself doing and discovering all these relationships and recurrences,
Oh,
that
yeah.
that have happened in my life.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, thank you for sharing that. It's so interesting. Um, Another family related question. Your wife, Marianne, worked
Mhm.
for the Stars and Stripes newspaper. Your
Mhm.
book is dedicated to her. How much of this book was a collaborative project? Or and how much of it, like, was she your editor? Did she have input along the way? I don't let my
Mhm.
husband read any of my books until they're like almost baked. So I'm just
Mhm.
really curious to see like if she had a lot of input into the story.
Well, as I wrote in my dedication, she was my muse,
Nice.
and we were um, w- w- we were married in 1969. I was on leave, and we had prearranged this, and we had a wedding on Long Island. Then we flew to Bermuda for our honeymoon, and then we got separated for a few weeks while I went to my assignment in Darmstadt. And I had to make arrangements before she was allowed to come over to have an apartment and transportation, a car. So I scurried around. I speak German and was able to expedite it and get it done so that she came over Christmas Eve.
Oh,
And
perfect.
that's what started our 3 year tour there. And first thing she did, because she didn't want to stay around the house, the apartment, was get a job at Stars and Stripes newspaper with the controller's office. She had been um, they call it a platform executive at a bank on Long Island, and she was bonded and insured. So they took her right away and made her uh, an employee in the controller's office. And there she met all of reporters and staff members of Stars and Stripes and got all her ideas about travel. So the travel in the book in Europe, those are all places we visited during our tour there. I used them from the pictures in the album to create the scenes in the book.
Excellent. I have another travel related question
Mhm.
later on, but so okay, so I was thinking that she might have been like an editor or writer at the newspaper, but she was on the business side of
Right, she's on the
business
business
management
side,
side. Got it.
but
Got it.
very into vaca to touring and going to all the sites we saw.
Good for
Uh,
her. Yeah. Woman
we
after my own heart.
I'll
Yeah.
tell you a little story. We bought a VW Bug, and when we got 4 days off together, because I was on shift work, we would pack the VW Bug with 10 gallons of extra gas in the trunk in the front and our suitcases in Europe on $5 a day. And we would travel Europe. $10 would get us into a pension with breakfast. And we would travel that way for 3 years. We would just pull up into a town
I love
and pull out the book and find a place
it.
to stay and tour the area.
Excellent. Excellent. I always ask writing related questions. This is your debut novel. Was writing a novel something you'd always wanted to do, or did it just come about from all this memoir material that you had written?
Well, my father, as I mentioned earlier, served in World War II. He was a commando. Um, he led as a warrant officer, he led a team of German speaking Americans would go behind enemy lines and locate German command posts and call in airstrikes. And Patton was going so fast he couldn't keep ahead of his lines. So they turned him into MPs, and he became the head of Patton's personal bodyguard and traveled all through the war with Patton. And I always regretted that he never wrote his memoirs. So,
Yeah, that's a story. I bet he had a
yeah,
lot of good stories there.
yeah, yeah. So when I retired, I decided I wanted to write my memoirs.
Hmm.
And the problem is, I was in with the in crowd in the security service, and the problem with that, you have the oath of secrecy, and everything has to be reviewed. So that's when I had to convert it into a work of fiction.
Got it. Got it. Okay, so to that point, I always one of the things I always ask historical fiction writers is so how did you strike a balance between the historical facts of the era and of what you wanted to convey, the events, etc., with fictional elements? Did you find that challenging or did you find that freeing?
That quote I said earlier, Hemingway, write about what you know and write truly. The writing in my book, all the technical writing describing how the military intercepts communications and analyzes them and reports on them, that was based on my direct experience in the service. And I wrote it as accurately as possible, given it was 50 years ago and relying on my memory, could not bring anything out with me.
Right, right.
So that's written as accurately as I could about how that uh, came about, how the what the process was, what a surveillance and warning center was like. All those details were from my direct experience. So I tried to make them as true as possible. And then I'm Irish, as my name indicates, and I think I have a bit of the blarney that gives me um, the ability to tell a good story, I think. And that's what I use that strength to come up with this story action in the book.
Got it. And in terms of the actual writing process itself,
Mm.
are you a planner? We always talk about like planners, pantsers versus plotters. Did you plan and plot it out, or did you kind of write by the seat of your pants and kind of figure it out as you went along?
I wrote the memoirs based on my memory. So it came,
Hmm.
and the album was in chronological order. So it organized me chronologically, and I wrote it all out as a memoir in chronological order. Then I had to edit it over and over again to get the plot and the story through the chronological order.
Oh, okay. So you kind of the memoir was the jumping off point. Like the content of the memoir was the total jumping off point. Did the
Yeah,
NSA have to review the novel or no?
yes, it's on
Oh, did
file.
wow. Okay.
Yeah, and then even though when I did the title change, I had to file that because people could read the novel and fear that I breached security because it's very realistic,
Yeah, yeah.
and contact them so they have on file the my name and the title, and they have it on a computer system. They
Okay.
they received a manuscript and they scanned it into their computer system and used a computer program to review it initially to see
Okay.
if there's any code words or things that I had left in it to do it.
Okay.
We went through it very thoroughly.
Yeah, incredible. Um, so in terms of writing, writing this book, what was the most challenging part of it, and what did you enjoy the most about the process?
The challenge was learning to write fiction, right? That whole fiction process. I
Yeah.
read, I read several books, The Hero with a Thousand Faces by Joseph Campbell,
Mm-hmm.
and The Writer's Journey by Christopher Vogler,
Mm-hmm.
and On Writing by Stephen King, trying to
One of the
get a,
best.
trying to get a sense of, you know, how I could take this memoir and make it creative.
I
And
love
those
Stephen
three
King's On
helped me.
Writing is my favorite one. Yeah, it remains my favorite one.
Mhm.
Um, what is the best writing advice you've ever received in this whole process?
Another writer, Steve Anderson, on the West Coast, the Oregon, I think. And I consulted with him when I had completed my first pass of it, of writing the fiction version. And he gave me the advice of taking the two dueling plots and making one primary and the other secondary.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that made all the difference because it made me sense what I I have another 300 pages of scenes that I had written that I took out that weren't contributing to the plot.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
he brought that up and did an analysis and showed me how to go in the right direction. So I have to give him credit.
Oh, that.
He writes military fiction as well too. So he's a big help.
Oh, okay. So that's actually a segue into my next question. Do you have a favorite novel or author in the military fiction genre?
Tom Clancy.
Ah, the best. Yeah. He's the best. Yep.
He, he's the best for me, but not all people like him. Some people
Right.
don't like all the description he puts in the
The
novel. All
technical aspects
the
and yeah, yeah.
technicals. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
I think they gave it a term, techno thriller,
Yeah,
is
that's right.
used for his work. But
I
he was my biggest inspiration. And there's a lot of technical stuff and
hmm.
and a lot of guy stuff too, I have to admit. Car stuff and motorcycles and stuff like that. All the things I'm interested in technically. The female protagonist gave the view my wife would have given of the whole situation
Hmm.
and what was going on. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Speaking of Anna Maria, if this were a movie, who would play Jake and Anna Maria in the movie version of The Interdictionist? Have you given it any thought?
Um, my sister did. I never thought about it. My sister, for me, it would be the lead would be young Steve McQueen.
Hmm.
That's
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, that's good.
and the female lead, Margot, so Australian actress that somebody mentioned who looks just like Sophia Loren. I can't
Oh,
think of her main name.
yeah,
I'd
I
have to
can't.
look it up on my texting stream. My sister sent me your picture, but in this picture, she has the green eyes and the facial look of Sophia Loren, a young Sophia
The
Loren.
look. Okay,
Mm.
perfect. I love to travel. My husband and I just got back from Italy and France, and I have to
Mm.
ask, since you traveled so much while living in Germany, did you and your wife have a favorite place that you went in
La-
your
Lauterbrunnen,
Lauterbrunnen?
in
Okay,
Switzerland.
excellent.
It's like a fairyland there.
Really?
It's
Okay,
tremendously beautiful.
we're gonna have to add that
And
to our list.
any place in Switzerland,
Yeah,
in the highlands in Switzerland.
yeah, yeah.
But our favorite place now is Africa.
Really
We've gone on safaris in 4 countries in Africa. It's just fantastic. And
amazing,
South America, Machu Picchu, and the Galapagos, those locations are very inspiring to us also.
amazing. So fun. Okay, so you said you were working on a sequel to the novel that
Mhm.
takes place in 2050. Did I get
Yeah,
that right?
right, right. I wanted to change up a little bit.
Okay.
So it's a dystopian future um, science fiction novel, but it's the same two characters. They're now over 100 years old.
Love it.
Yeah,
Very cool. And that's what you're working on right now.
that's right. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, John, it was lovely to meet you and have you on the podcast. Again, the book is The Interdictionist. It is out wherever books are sold. And that is a wrap.
Mhm.
John Edward Collins, The Interdictionist is available now. My latest novel is The Women of Arlington Hall. Please remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel or follow me wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks again, John. Congratulations on your terrific debut. It's quite an accomplishment. I know how hard it is, to get the first one out there. And thank you again to everyone for listening.